Oakley dokily, we're back, guys, and unfortunately, it looks like we are going to be waiting a little bit, as neither of the semifinals has a game ready to go yet. If I were to guess, like Game 2 or Game 3 of Blind TLO, that could potentially delay the semifinals, and I don't want to do that either, so we will likely be sitting here waiting for a moment or two. I do, however, have a new toy from Corsair I would like to go over with you guys. I meant to grab it during the break, but I started playing my iPad game instead. Just one sec. Let me reach on over and grab it. I opened it a bit, but I wanted to do like a, I guess like a legit unboxing. I don't know if you're legit. It's like air quotes here. They've got this cool new, I guess, RGB mouse pad, which, by the way, I want to emphasize probably is entirely unnecessary to make a mouse pad RGB. But I think that it's going to be cool, and I want to try it out here with you guys on stream and hope I don't break anything in the process. Plus, I spilled some Red Bull on my mouse pad that I'm currently using, so hey, new mouse pad is always good. Before I do this, though, someone asked you, where is Zombie Grub? She's on her way back from Kings of the North. I don't know if she'll be here before the end of the broadcast today, but if she is, hopefully she'll join us for the finals or something, and if she's not, then we'll just YOLO solo a little bit more. Anyways, I guess I'll full screen this since we have some time to kill. And if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask them in chat. I'll try and answer, but you know, it is whatever because we are waiting. I will start the semifinals right away. I won't delay. This isn't product placement. This is actually just like, hey, I got this thing and I never got a chance to open it or use it yet. So let's get around to finally doing that. So I'll try and do this in a way that the camera can see it, I guess. I don't know. I don't normally do unboxing stuff, guys, so I don't... Alright, let's see how this bad boy looks. So, it is a massive mouse pad, by the way. Like, this is huge. Like, context here to me, this is like the size of my chest. And while not every one of you is going to understand how big of a person I am a fairly large man. Oh, are you guys ready for this? Are you guys fucking ready for this part? I'm just gonna... Oh, there's a cord there. One sec. Alright, you know what? This box is cumbersome. I'm gonna do the cool thing here if I move the box out of the way. Alright. Are you guys fucking ready for this? It's gonna be... Oh, so good. Watch. I'm just gonna... Where's the edge of it? I'm just gonna peel it off. Because I know people love watching this. Alright, let's... It's hard to do backwards while I'm looking at the camera. Okay, here we go. Who's ready? Oh, yeah. Mmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you like that? Oh, I bet you like that. Oh, what's that? What's that? There's another? Oh, you dirty girl. Let's do it from the other way this time. Let's go big to small. Because size matters. Oh. Oh, no, yeah. Get that right. Oh. That was totally unnecessary on my part. I apologize. Hashtag sorry not sorry. But I was having USB problems before. Let's see if I can get this thing to work in the first place. Looks like MajOr and aLive will be getting ready to go here in a moment, so I'm just gonna finish plugging this in. I guess. Oh, I see. So there's a part here on the back. You plug your mouse into this part. So I can just... Oh, this is gonna possibly screw everything up. I'm gonna unplug my mouse, which I'm sure is a terrible idea. Which of these parts is my mouse, actually? No. Okay, my mouse is plugged in my keyboard, so that's gonna be awkward. Okay, unplugged my mouse. I can't accept that invite. aLive, forgive me, please. As I try to plug in this cool new toy. Ooh, look at it light up! Oh shit, that is some shiny, bright stuff. But I have to plug this in now so I can use my mouse, so I can select aLive and tell him, hey, I can't accept the invite right now. Give me a second. Alright, is the mouse gonna work? That's the real question. Yes, my mouse still works. Excellent. Apotheos is gonna be the first map. Let me go host that up real quick. But, oh man, look at the lights. Now, okay, with the Corsair keyboard, which you guys can't quite see here, the Corsair keyboard you can set, like, profiles for, and you can make it do different types of lighting. I'm wondering if I can do that with this mouse pad or not. Right now it's just like in glowy rainbow default mode, and that's what the keyboard normally is too. By the way, this is like a... This isn't soft, this is hard. I don't know if you can hear me, but oh man, it feels really cool. Sorry, let me invite the players here. before we continue nerding out about this. This is neat. I like this, guys. Again, context here for the size of me. Look how big this mouse pad is. Like, that's my chest. Seriously. That's pretty cool, though. I love the lights. The bottom's got some track. This is, you can't tell. This is like the bottom of your shoe. It's like rubber type thing. Why is it? Okay, aLive just pestered me for an invite, and he doesn't take the invite. What's going on here? Try again. Anyways, I guess this will be the product demonstration test as I use it for observing, and we'll see whether it causes problems or not. This is going to look bad on you, Corsair, if you sent me crappy product, but I don't think they did. Corsair has always been... Like, I got to be honest, guys. So here's my course of, like, peripherals and equipment, right? I started using with Razer equipment because Razer was marketed really heavily as being cool and awesome and good. And I will tell you now, every piece of Razer equipment I've ever had, I've heavily regretted having. They break, the customer support is garbage, I'm not a fan of them. And I don't mean to shit talk them, and I'm not trying to defame them on stream. I've just had really bad experiences with Razer. Then I went with CM Storm because they sponsored us for a little bit. CM Store Gear is actually not bad, but I don't think it's worth how expensive it is. But I would never smack talk it. The CM Storm headsets we had and the keyboard and everything, those were fine. They worked out they did what they needed to do. Oh man, this mousepad is seriously massive, guys. I'm having trouble fitting this on my desk, to be honest with you right now. But then then I did Logitech for a while because it was not sponsored by anybody. We weren't sponsored by anyone for a while, so I did Logitech. Logitech was okay, still no problems, nothing there. But Corsair has really been over the top for me. They sponsored us, and that's cool. There's a lot of bonus points for that. Oh, by the way, MajOr's proxying. I'll finish up this spiel in a second. Top left side, it's aLive. Bottom right side, it's MajOr. And this is the semifinals of the Corsair Cup. But continuing with my Corsair story for a moment, guys. Not only has Corsair products like just generally been really high quality for me, like nothing's broken on me. Well, no, there's the exception of the keyboard because I spilled Coke all over it. Anything will break with that. But these headsets, I've got a massive head. I'm terrible. I'm a type of guy who usually throws his headsets off as soon as he's done wearing them, right? Like I don't take good care of them. And these have been working for like a year at this point. The wireless battery's still good. Everything's fantastic. I love Corsair Gear, guys, which is why I'm so fucking happy that they sponsor us, that they sponsor these tournaments. And this keyboard, or not keyboard, the mouse pad is so distracting. It's so pretty and flashy to look at. But anyways, getting into this game, now that it is actually well underway, MajOr is double raxing with Reapers. He may in fact put a third one down, I'm unsure. I do need to point out, though, that aLive, this is, for those who don't know, the Korean player aLive. He's actually good, and he's won games, and he's fantastic, but he is playing across the server to Europe. And while maybe playing to Europe sucks for MajOr, I guarantee you it happens to be even worse for aLive. So this Reaper build is something that is really micro-dependent. Your lag, your latency is going to play a certain factor into it, too. I actually like this choice out of MajOr. We'll see if it works, though, because it's still going to be pretty nasty to hold off. And it's still going to be pretty hard for MajOr to actually just straight up win. You can't just simply A-move with this. Anyways, I see a couple people getting uppity. I mean, it's not meant to be product placement. They just sent me something cool. There's no contract that says you have to open this on stream. I just thought I'd save it for stream and share it with you guys because I thought it was cool. So, some of you didn't like it, my bad. Some of you liked it. I'm glad to hear. Either way, this is a really pretty mouse pad. I'm actually super worried now because it is so nice that I'll spill something on it. I am a very clumsy person. If any of you caught the drunk streams and saw me spill alcohol on myself 3 times during the same broadcast, that's pretty much going to happen if I'm sober as well. Anyways, as we see quite a bit of micro battling going on. What's this in the bottom right? aLive's putting a starport. He's going to proxy a Liberator, I guess, is the follow-up to this? I mean, if he can hold MajOr off and not take too much damage, that's actually a fantastic idea. And MajOr might not actually make this work. He killed a couple of SCVs. aLive's mining got totally demolished through this, by the way. They just completely shut down mining with all the SCVs having been pulled off like that. But still, MajOr is not in a great spot. Back at home, there's no factory. There's no starport. There's no way he's going to stop the counter Liberator. That's just going to sit above the command center. Well, MajOr, unfortunately, has to win the game now with these Reapers. Sometimes you do this and you get ahead, and that's cool. Unfortunately, though, I don't know if he's going to get ahead from this. He can certainly take on the Hellions. SCVs need to be pulled again. If aLive doesn't pull SCVs, he's dead. I think he knows that too. Gets a little bit messy. Gets a little bit scary. Dives for that last Hellion. No Hellions remaining. Now both players are going to be in a situation where the game might end in a stalemate. I actually really want to emphasize that actually it won't. aLive is the only one who can win the game at this point. MajOr won't be able to build anything that attacks air, but aLive can with that Liberator shoot up. MajOr thinks he's won the game, but aLive managed to get enough minerals to build a single Liberator. Sets up over here. Oh, does MajOr? Okay, hold the phone. If MajOr finishes this factory, he can build a Widow Mine. Potentially? I mean, ideally you want to build a Tech Lab and get a Cyclone out. Oh, MajOr's got enough money for a Cyclone! MajOr wins! aLive, I mean, he can't do anything about it. The Cyclone can outmaneuver it. He knows it too. GG gets called, and MajOr is going to take the first game of the series. 1-0. Not a bad start. Okay, well. We'll find out what the next map is out of aLive. Nicely done by MajOr. Excuse me. The second semifinals will be cast as well. Solo versus the winner of Bly or TLO up on the top side of the bracket once that game concludes. And let's get this lobby hosted up. Real talk here, though, because I do need to address this in chat. I see this is some feedback. Stop getting so nerdy about the mouse pad. Yo, my dear sir, have you never had a new toy? Like, this is super cool to me. I will not stop being nerdy about the mouse pad. I couldn't care if this was not made by Corsair or not. This thing, look at it, it just fucking lights up, and it's just so pretty to look at, and I just can't even with this damn thing. As I gotta get the live invite the players. Where's MajOr? I can't walk and talk at the same time. Anyways, so fuck you. This is cool, and you're just jealous. That's all I could say. The hat actually is RGB too. The batteries in it are dead right now, so I can't turn it on. But you guys probably saw it the first time I brought it on stream. I don't know. Corsair does a lot of. They're really obsessed with lighting and stuff, and it's really cool, and I love it. And I think actually the best thing was it was a joke, but they made like RGB light up deodorant, which I really actually want. Like, it would serve no purpose, but I totally want that for realsies. Anyways, I thought I swapped game screens. Excuse me. Let's hop into it. You guys heard the countdown after all. We are getting into game number 2 on Frost. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 in the semifinals. Spawning here on the bottom left side. It is going to be the red Terran player, none other than aLive. Currently down 1 game. Top right side, we got the blue Terran. It's, of course, MajOr, who's leading 1-0 currently. And looking to be a pretty good contender for that final spot, I must say. But aLive had some pretty clever decision-making that followed up that game. And I do wonder, like, let's hypothesize if we could somehow rewind time and butterfly effect this. If aLive went for a Banshee instead of a Liberator, if he had the money for it even, like, would that have been enough to screw up MajOr? Because while a Liberator's not necessarily going to be able to fight a Cyclone, a Banshee actually can. Cyclones don't have a lot of health, and they kind of suck versus light units. So I wonder if there's like another world where aLive maybe has 50 extra gas and 100 extra minerals, and that goes a slightly different direction or not. Regardless, though, it is a new game, and both players can come to this with a bit of a fresh mindset. Although, what would the French mindset be? Like, haha, silly British people speaking English. I can't. I'm getting into like bad stereotypes at this point. If there's anyone from France tuning in, first off, my apologies. Secondly, my apologies. Now, it's going to be a Reaper opening from MajOr, but it isn't a cheesy Reaper opening this time. It is just a pretty regular way to go about it. And if that's the case, that's fine. Both players just going to be scouting a little bit. This actually looks a little bit awkward because for aLive, this looks like MajOr came from the bottom right. In fact, he's actually so confident that that's the case, he's not going to continue scouting it and go home instead. Oh, no. Guys, I mean, the timing on that SCV was too coincidentally perfect. aLive is going to absolutely miss-scout MajOr. misunderstand where he's coming from. That Reaper is probably heading to the bottom right as soon as he can. And MajOr is safe and sound. He's actually patrolling down here because he expects the Reaper to come from the right because he assumes MajOr's in the bottom right. Now, it's unfortunate because there's no way for MajOr to know that this is the case. And he has no idea that aLive misunderstands this. And this just, unfortunately, it's not like a 6-pool with links coming. There's no way to misunderstand this. So it's just an interesting but funny fact while the game progresses. It's going to be really awkward, though, when aLive goes to the bottom right to drop and there's nothing there. Once again, the question for Zombie Grub arises. She is not here, guys. She's currently in Toronto. I don't actually know when she gets back. She was supposed to be back in time to help with the end of the cast, but I'm not sure about her plane flight and all that. And going off of the Twitters, she seems to be having quite a bit of fun with some of the players, too, on her last day. So I would imagine you're going to have to just suck it up and do all the Rifkin solo cast for the rest of it. That being said, though, I do love having a break once in a while. Not from Zombie Grub per se, but getting to actually solo casts. I feel like a lot of people, they don't like the off-topicness in a 2v2-person cast scenario, but for some reason it seems to be more reasonable when I'm solo YOLOing it, so I can get away with, you know, doing the country shoutouts, showing off cool things a little bit more easily, and telling bad jokes when somebody's not there to shut me down. You know, actually, I got a story for you guys. I was on my day off on Saturday when we weren't streaming. I went to the zoo. It only had like one animal though, and it was a dog. It was a Shih Tzu. Forgive me! Forgive me! Hellions get a pretty nice attack from MajOr. The fact that the bunker's not done means that this is totally a fight he can take. The SCV gets sniped off. Can't quite finish it up just yet, but that bunker will finish. And when it does, that's going to end the push. But poking in and out, getting quite a bit of damage. MajOr can walk away from this with his Hellions to come out ahead as far as cost efficiency goes. Yeah, SCV gets picked off over there. Looking for a couple of shots more. It's getting a bit greedy, to be honest. I don't think he actually needs to give away the Hellions like this. In fact, he's trying to micro the low one back. I applaud the effort, but at the same time, go home, man. You're drunk. There's a Banshee following this up, and MajOr, of course, just had Cloak finish up for him as well, so he will have a little bit of killing power. aLive is also doing the same thing, but his is a little bit later. He tries to go for the Raven first. In fact, the Raven's going to be a really awesome addition. Not only will you not have to burn scans, thus saving money, but he's also going to have possibly point defense drones, possibly auto turrets, things that'll stop the Banshee from getting too much done. And in fact, MajOr's Banshee is going to die here. If it was actually able to just straight up 1v1 the Cyclone without the Raven or the medevac to pick it up and drop it, then actually that wouldn't have been a good move. But as we saw, it really was not an issue for him. Meanwhile, though, he does take a third, and he checks to see his opponent's third. I do want to wonder, has aLive actually... Like, he did finally get a scout off. I guess I just wasn't paying attention when that finally happened. But, again, that misunderstanding of the bottom right spawn location for a while was quite awkward. Banshee going to come in from the bottom side, but the Cyclone and the Raven are well poised in position to deal with it. The auto turrets deal a ton of damage, so the Banshee can go down pretty quickly if the Raven alone even just sees it. But the Cyclone, of course, gets that lock on and guarantees a kill. Helling gets a little bit low. It wants to kite the Marine if it can. Not going to happen, though. The SCV is actually going to be the badass who soaks those hits. Banshee coming around the top left side. MajOr actually doesn't have detection himself. He actually burns a scan, too. He sees the third CC out of aLive. But, oh, no. Okay, he'll have enough energy if he doesn't mule immediately. But this is going to come down to timing and be a little bit awkward. And it looks like timing will be in his favor. So he probably will not mule with this command center. I imagine he's going to save up a scan so he can chase off this Banshee. A little bit unfortunate he has to cancel the missile turret, but it is what it is. Rob Athari, by the way, for the 27-month resub. Big shout-outs over there. Says, love you guys. Keep what you're doing. Or keep doing what you're doing. Excuse me. Well, there's just the singular version today, but I'll assume you are providing love for Zombie Grub simultaneously. And that you don't just see two of me. Although I wonder if I could pull off... My accents aren't good enough. But I wonder if I could ever get to the point where I could pull off a fake duo cast. I think it would probably be quite cringy, so maybe I'll avoid that. Although cringe seems to be my forte most of the time. Right side got the Banshee coming in, but there's a turret this time around, so Major shouldn't take too much. There's a little bit of room on the right side to squeeze on here. As we can see, it does force a bit of a problem, but the Marines have vision thanks to the turret, and actually scanning will not kill that Banshee. Wow, a lot of people really appreciated that joke, I see. A 3-minute delay. Stings. Whatever, guys. Whatever. You'll appreciate good humor one day. You'll grow up. Let's see how it is. Puns are the best. In fact, did you know that it's not even safe to not pun? If you were to go 7 days without making puns, it would make 1 week. Push coming down the middle of the map out of Major. He's got actually a really nice supply lead when it comes to army value, but overall not too overwhelming. 5 tanks to 4, 33 Marines to 23 of aLive. There's going to be the difference of that Raven, by the way. This can make a huge impact. Auto turrets, they deal a ton of damage. They also have high priority targeting, so the tanks will shoot these instead of aLive's tanks. Had he used this to set up his tanks in a closer position, that may have been better, but aLive boldly dives in and snipes off one of the tanks, but at the cost of the majority of his Marines. I can't say that that seemed too worth it. Major, by the way, I guess he is going to keep pushing up slowly, pick up that turret, then move up a little bit closer, try and push off some of the mineral lines. And aLive, having burned all that energy, doesn't have any auto turrets left to throw out at Major right now. In fact, the tanks are going to misfire. One's going to go down, and it looks like aLive will hold the position, only losing a turret for it so far. Back on the other side, though, we don't have Major pushing for a 4th anytime soon. I do imagine both players are thinking about lifting their mains more so than planting down an actual 4th base. As far as upgrades go, it's currently 1-1 across the board. We got both players going for 2-2, but aLive is significantly ahead on his +2 weapons research. Major coming to the south side with a bit of a run by. This army is a bit weak, and aLive actually has a Marine here to scout this, so he'll know this is coming. But there's no base here. Major knows this too. The Helling's just been kind of chilling, so he knows that there's no base here for him to really knock down. I think he's just really hoping to draw aLive out of position, and that's actually what aLive does. He scatters a bit to spread himself, so he's a bit, I guess, better presented to take on a fight instead of getting caught completely off guard. But I do want to point out the supply gap has minimized, and despite the fact that aLive is down a few Marines, he wants to get some more cool tricks up his sleeve. He's got the Raven, he's got the 3 Vikings, he's got a little bit more potential than Major does. And with the +2 possibly being a big part of this engagement, if he comes in with 2-2, he's going to demolish Major's Marines. It's not even going to be a close fight. Excuse me. 3-minute delay, baby rage. Yeah, so the 3-minute delay is necessary for tournament casting. We don't want these guys to cheat, and I don't think a majority of the players that we cast ever would, but we don't want to give them the option. Why give the temptation, right? So unfortunately, we have to compensate that with a 3-minute stream delay. Anyways, double turret to the main. A lot of Marines push off Major's double drop that was down here. One of the medevacs fully loaded goes down. Super unfortunate. Almost loses the second one. The tank fight in the front lines also favoring aLive, positioning just better, and aLive will not be able to take too much advantage of that weapon upgrade, though. Major's 2-2 finishes as we speak. Topside had a bit of a run by the looks of it, but the Marines were cleaned up. 6 SCVs died for it. There's even a Raven waiting to do an auto turret or 2, I guess. Unless that was auto turrets that was Major's Marine that was dead on the ground, although it looked red. May have been painted red by blood. Yo, Mechanius, if I could get that vocoder, if you're talking about the one on Reddit that was advertised with that dude speaking into it, I would 100% cast Robot Auto-Tune, okay? I have no idea how that equipment works, though, so I can't make that happen. And I'm pretty sure it's post-processing, not something you can do live. But I could be wrong on that, because again, I don't actually know how that equipment works. But Marines coming through the middle of the map are actually segmented away from Major's army. I don't like this. I don't know why you would put what is it looking like, 15-something Marines out on their own like that. That's just asking to get them picked off. But when the fight commences, aLive's going to have way more units. 85 Marines to the 67 of MajOr. Keep in mind, both players don't have all of these on the front lines, but 11 tanks to 11 upgrades. Dead similar across the board. Is that Raven still alive? Where's that Raven at? Okay, he's just chilling up here waiting for more auto turrets. Okay, that's fine. Auto turrets in the middle of the map could be actually quite helpful, but at the same time, drop a 1 or 2 behind these geysers. These only last for about 10 seconds or so. 7 seconds, excuse me, but as you can see, they're going to pick off about 4 or 5 SCVs every time he drops one of those auto turrets. Oops, as I hold the spacebar, apparently structure complete. And you guys ready for a seizure? Just hold the spacebar during a cast. You're going to have a bad time. Because for some reason it locks onto one of the players but not the other. And I still have no idea why to this day. Yeah, with tank lines in the middle establishing dominance, big part of this was going to be those Vikings. I want to talk about more, but unfortunately, while I was going to get to that point, aLive drops actually run-bys with some Marines to the backside of MajOr's planetary. So he's out of range of the planetary fortress itself, but in range to deny the mining, which kind of sucks for aLive. But I was a bit surprised to see them actually go for 4th. They both actually make new 4th bases for this. They were actually poised to just move their command centers over. Attack coming up to the north side, looking a little bit scary. Lots and lots of Marines pushing into this base. There's not a lot to defend. It's only a siege tank. aLive's going to just push right on through and hope to bring MajOr back home. But is this going to push? Is this push going to be enough to do that? It looks like yes. MajOr turning around with that army comes back to defend his 3rd, but the orbital's likely going to go down. SCVs get absolutely gutted. The orbital pops off, and aLive might just try and run for his life. MajOr's got too many tanks for aLive to actually take a head-on engagement with, but he's looking to snipe. It's not going to work. He finds himself in a terrible position. He bleeds out a ton of Marines, but the cost might just be worth it. Once again, he did catch that 3rd base and annihilate it. Running through the main, he's just trying to get these structures all on fire in hopes that MajOr will have them burned. If he focuses the engineering bay, that'll be well worth his trouble. Oh my god, it's burning. Is it going to die? I think the upgrade's going to finish. Oh, it completed with 1 second to go! That building had 1 HP remaining, and it completes the +3 weapon upgrades. That was massive for MajOr, but a blunder out of aLive. If he had just shot that one more time, MajOr would have had his +3 denied. But MajOr's finishing up his +3 armor. aLive's on +3 himself. Big concave setup in the middle of the map. It's a tank line of just no, you're not allowed here. MajOr wants to say screw that though. If anything, I'm gonna go wherever I want. I was gonna make a racist joke, decided not. Good thing I didn't. But well, this may not have been too good for aLive to lose all those tanks. I still think he's ahead in a lot of other ways. The SCV count, for one, is gonna be the most notable. Secondly, the fact that his army is still on top of MajOr's production. He can't build new Marines. He's having a hard time replacing the units that are dying. And aLive, on the other hand, has built up quite the wonderful 2nd army. At this rate, it looks like we might just go to a 3rd and final game. MajOr's going to have to pull out some crazy stuff to really bring this back. But right now, this game is 100% in aLive's pocket. Oh no, the stream broke? Oh, stream broke 3 minutes ago. It looks like it's up now. I just hit play. GG. Oh yeah, I dropped like 400 frames that game. Yikes. Well, I don't know what happened, and hopefully it's not. Is the stream working right now? Hopefully nothing's too broken here. I'll find out what game 3 is in the moment. I don't even know if this is live right now, so I'm gonna go to commercial break and try to fix things. Hopefully it's working. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, I'm back, guys. Thank you for watching that break. And looks like the stream is stable. I was a little bit worried because I had no idea what was going on, but everyone says they can see it now. I have dropped a total of 714 frames, though, so I'm going to try turning down the bitrate ever so slightly and hope that helps alleviate the problem. I don't know that it will, because I don't know what's causing it, but there's not really a lot I can do about it. Spawning here, though, in the top left side of King Sejong Station, he has tied things up now 1-1, and it's going to be the Blue Terran aLive. Bottom right, it's going to be the Red Terran MajOr. And I'm glad that the stream, excuse me, I'm glad that the stream was working for you guys to see that upgrade thing. Got in chat saying that is the most exciting upgrade of all time. Like, yeah, that was crazy. That was super insane. I've never seen an upgrade come down to such 1 second decision making. But that was neat to say the least. I don't think that would, by the way, like, is what won aLive the game. He had so much more going for him with macro than it did like that one moment, but it was certainly would have been cool to see him actually pick it off. Thank you to Ian Chan 2003 for the 22-month resub. Big love. And Ian Chan, I got a question about you. Or I got a question for you. If I told you a joke about chemistry, do you think it would get a reaction? I'm actually, so the worst part is this is one of the things where I've put myself in that spot. You go to a party, you get introduced to somebody like, hey, here's Rifkin. He's hilarious. Rifkin, show him how you're hilarious. Tell him a joke. And then you freeze on the spot. You're like, fuck off. Like, how am I supposed to tell a joke right now? I can't think of anything. You can't put me in a spot like that. This is a bit of a funny duel, by the way. As you'll notice aLive places the command center incorrectly. It's not a massive setback, but the reason he wanted to put it down, MajOr was also dealing with the same problem back at home. They both just agree to do this, and not because the other one also messed up, but because you can lift it over and move it. And yeah, you'll lose a little bit of timing and a little bit of mining, but it'll be for like 1 second, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's just funny to see nonetheless. Reaper's gonna not meet in the middle of the map, maybe. The SCV, if it soaks a single hit from MajOr, could actually let that Reaper fight go in the favor of MajOr. Although, once upon a time, Reaper fights were all about who got that first shot off. Nowadays, with the grenade, can really turn that battle to be very, very different. And the fact that MajOr's actually on top of this SCV is huge. He soaks the hits with his own SCV. He kills his opponents. aLive has to bring 2 more to deal with the Reaper. Not to mention try and finish the command center. MajOr's actually going to kill that Reaper. He'll kill 2 more SCVs for this. And if he can stall out that command center, this could be game-ending damage. I know it sounds silly to over-exaggerate so heavily, but aLive's command center delayed so massively. And the fact that he's lost 4 or will lose like 4 SCVs for this, oh, MajOr's not going to get that last one, really makes this not worth it for him. I mean, context here is, I guess, the difference of being on location and time or not, but still, MajOr's up a couple of workers, he got some nice kills, and without that Reaper for aLive, he actually doesn't have the power of that follow-up push. It's no exaggeration when I say we've cast games on a pro level where the game has been decided by 2 Reapers and a Hellion or 2 Hellions and a Reaper. In fact, that's exactly what MajOr's trying to do right now himself, and I think 4 Marines and 2 Hellions should be enough to defend. I really don't think this will get out of hand unless aLive really makes mistakes. Fish Lord says, when we write something in chat, do they read it 3 minutes later and then take another 3 minutes for them to respond? So the way it works is I see all the chat in real time. There's no delay over there. Like when you write that message, I see that at the same time you write that message. The problem is, even though I respond to it right now at 12:08 p.m. my time, you're not going to see it till 12:11. It's just or you won't hear it, excuse me. It's just how the delay works. I know it's a little bit confusing, but it's not 6 minutes, it's 3, and the reason we have 3 is prevent tournament cheating and all that stuff we've been over already. So yeah, it sucks because we are one of the few streamers who have really made a channel this big more on personality than I think on anything else, and the delay really hurts for it. I've actually talked to people about that a ton, but anyways, what am I going to get a shot off? Yes, actually, I'm burnt up because it was going to go up on the Marines, and that would have been more hurtful than helpful. Splash damage kills it. No damage done. Viking going to push off that medevac, and aLive's attack absolutely flops. MajOr, from the start of this game with the Reaper to defending this drop now, already looking so good in this game. So we get that like Unreal Champion, like, dominating sound effect to play in the background. Right alongside First Blood. Oh, you guys, the more you react poorly to my puns, the more it encourages me to do them. In fact, I would argue this is coming from a punster's point of view, okay? If you ever want to stop somebody from telling puns, laugh and make way too big of a deal of it. Like, instead of giving them the grimace that everyone who tells puns wants, you say, "Oh, ha, ha! Oh, John, get over here. John, you gotta hear it. Okay, tell again. Oh, you're not gonna, it's so funny." And then as they're telling it, you ruin it with a punchline, and you just make them feel bad. Then they feel awkward. They're not gonna tell more puns. Your mission's accomplished if you really wanted the puns to stop. There's your life. This is like, put that on lifeprohacktips.com, #hashbrown, stop puns. That being said, I will never stop doing puns, and that trick doesn't work on me. I am sadly ignorant and immune. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm really insecure. It happens all the time, and I always feel such an asshole. Sorry, getting over myself. Vikings are spread magnificently to catch more medevacs, but there's no medevacs coming. I like the Raven paired up with this too. An auto turret as well will do a bit more damage, but most importantly, provide detection if something really weird like a late game Banshee was coming. MajOr, by the way, is playing this game very differently. If it wasn't clear, I want to make it clear now. He's playing for mech. Blue Flame Hellions are going to annihilate Marines. It's not even going to be a close fight. Barracks floating off in the middle of nowhere looking for some scouting information, and this Hellion from aLive gets to the main. Now, how does this affect aLive's gameplay? You can't just simply be like, oh, he went mech, I guess I'll go mech now. It used to be like that once upon a time. Not quite the case anymore. He's going to have to put a lot more emphasis, I think, on Marauders than necessarily Marines, but also, just in general, his production. The weak points of mech from HOTS are still the weak points of mech here in Legacy, where, alright, the economy's better, but you're still producing really slow, factories take gas to build, and you can't get a big army going too quickly. If MajOr loses any of these units early on, it's actually kind of tough for him to replace them. Tank out in the front line, there's a bunker up too, 5 Vikings in the sky. I mean, he pushes off the third, so this is already a good start, and I really like that aLive isn't going to over-dedicate trying to defend it. But MajOr's going to push in perhaps an unnecessary manner to try and push. There's no air superiority here. There's no vision for him. He has to scan anytime he wants to shoot. It's actually going to be expensive. Tries to sacrifice a Hellion, but it dies too quickly. So MajOr's actually not in a prime position to take a fight right now. Falling back may be a better course of action. He is building up secretly a ton of air back on the other side of the field, and I will tell you guys this right now. Seeker missiles aren't as popularly used against Vikings as they used to be, and that kind of sucks. But point defense drone, a little bit of splash from this Liberator, and suddenly less Vikings can take on more Vikings every single time. He's also going to see that push out on the left side too, so his air should be able to intercept that. That's a full drop after all. It's not a fake medevac. Oh, and he boosts right on by. I don't know if he knows that he boosts right on by either. It's awkward. The Liberator sets up to kill 1 Marine. Not necessary. Auto turret was going to go down too. He was really ready to take a fight at the Watchtower, but MajOr, unfortunately, has no idea that this is going to hit his third. Now, can aLive do enough damage? If the SCVs are pulled right away, the answer is going to be a strict no. Big Viking fleet coming down the middle of the map, though, to chase after this, and MajOr is going to lose some of this to the Marines, maybe? Blue Flame Hellions take out the Marines pretty quickly. Liberator needs repairs, not going to get them. Lots of Vikings in the middle of the map, total of, 8 to 8, 1 to 1. That Raven should be really what makes the key difference. Now, we got some people in chat. Ms. Tings doesn't like the clan tag thing. Here's the problem. When I hit Control-C to make the clan tag go away, it's just a barcode. So, unfortunately, as dumb as this looks, it's better than not knowing that this is MajOr at a glance. So, hopefully this'll work. Anyways, MajOr's Viking count, though, is going to be so influential. As we can see, aLive can get these free shots with the tanks. He's got the vision, but MajOr takes the fight. Point defense drone goes down. aLive is going to lose these Vikings. Engineering bay on the front lines because he wanted to build turrets. That's too funny to see. That is too funny to see. By the way, this is something where if he gets another Liberator out, if he brings those up, those will trump tanks. You won't have Marines running underneath it because that's where the Blue Flame Hellions really shine. This command center, he's not going to let it land. The Hellion denying it, so the Vikings will kill the command center. Oh, this is so sick. It's on fire. It's burning. It's dead. Third CC kill here from aLive by MajOr. Now the Vikings going to land in the natural mineral line and look to get some kills. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hellion's coming to push that back. I'm surprised Hellion's alone were able enough to push that back, but man, rarely do you see this be such a big deal. Vikings and Hellions go hand in hand when it comes to playing mech, but this degree of Vikings, 12 Vikings, I would almost argue is even too many for MajOr. As the one Viking lands, it's going to die. It can't escape. The auto turret can 1v1 a Viking. There's no need to throw down a second one, but why the hell not? Engineering bay, other side of the map, for whatever silly reason, was I don't know why you put it down over here. Like, there was no need to build the engineering bay anywhere except his main. Except for maybe some cool points, maybe? I don't know. I would like to update the brackets, by the way. We actually have a bit of an upset, in my opinion. TLO just beat Bly 2-0, and now he awaits to play against Solo in a ZVZ other side of the bracket. So the grand finals at this point is guaranteed to be a TVZ no matter what. So that's kind of cool. We got that much going for us. So Hellion in the middle of the map will survive with 1 HP. That's cool. Barracks also going to be scouting this attack coming. And while this turret's going up, it's really the Vikings that are going to be scarier. They will just annihilate those medevacs. They can land or probably even take on the Marines that come out of them. And frankly, bio without medevac support is just not that scary. The reason you fear bio is because they get healed. But forget that for a moment. I also keep forgetting Major's got Blue Flame Hellions, and Blue Flame Hellions only fear Marauders. They don't really care about Marines. Tanks come in, though. This fight ends up being way messier for Major to clean up than I think he even anticipated. This should have been a walk in the park for him, but this also opens the door for his army being slightly out of position. He's got to remove back over to the left side. Hellbats get baited with those tank shots. Unfortunately, Major doesn't have the medevac count to lift up and drop enough tanks to make it worthwhile trying to break this. So he's going to take the loss on the gas. But the command center, sadly, is in range of this. He's going to have to lift it or something. Yeah, before it goes down, before it gets too late. Got a little bit too close for comfort, in my opinion. Main base wasn't lifted over, by the way. aLive actually just straight up double expanded behind this, and I think that's a really clever move. Major doesn't really have the numbers of units to drop around the map. He just has the control to take head-on engagements 1v1. But 1v1's not going to cut it. There's no anti-air left at this point. One Banshee, one Liberator would seriously dominate aLive in so many of these situations. Major knows this as well, and I think that's why he's got the two of them producing as we speak. One Liberation Zone cuts out all these tanks. One Liberation Zone zones out the Marauders. He lands that base and goes back to mining right away. Unfortunately, though, he has been forced to waste a lot of time. Sorry, I'm coughing like crazy. We're dropping some more frames, guys. I don't know what's going on at this point. I can't fix it, so I'm just going to try and focus on casting for the time being. Cyclones are a cool addition. They unfortunately get absolutely destroyed by Marauders. That being said, they kill a couple of tanks on the way out. Medevac coming back towards the main. No turret this time. This was hard enough to clean up the first time around. Looks like the second time won't be too much better. Yeah, Shrek'd, decked, and wrecked. Tanks come back and look like they, plus the Blue Flame Hellions, should be able to clean this up. But this is that problem for aLive. I talked about production earlier, and it still applies even here to the mid-game, to the late game, if you will. He's producing a lot of units now, but he's not able to bulk up enough to get a big army, and Major's still sitting on 91 army supply, and yes, some of that is in useless Vikings in the sky, and I say useless with air quotes, but those Vikings protect the Liberators, and as more and more Marauders come out and less Marines, these Liberators become more and more dangerous. Now, I don't believe Major knows about the top right base. He, in fact, does not. Just taking a fight around here. Marauders can't get in there. Command Center gets shot, and there's nothing left attacking him on his side of the field. The one thing I do I'm concerned about for both sides of this, though, is neither player has a lot of money. He kills his own Hellbat for whatever reason that I'm unaware of. That was awkward. He liberated that Hellbat, sent him right to heaven. There's another word I was going for there. Drops come here to the natural base. Once again, tanks should be able to clean this up. Unsiege it even. Not a problem. But Major's problem doesn't lie in the damage he's currently taking. It lies in the fact that he's only on one base mining going behind this. aLive's problem is he's got plenty of mining. He dropped a hell of a lot of mules, but he can't seem to break Major's position. His best bet at this point is just going around it. Always trying to attack to the sides, to the south, not necessarily taking any of these fights back at home. And in fact, a base trade of some variety may be aLive's best bet to win this game and go on to the finals. Coming on down south with 3 medevacs, though. It's the Flying V, a really weak version of it, but quack, quack, quack. He wants to make the epic comeback. He can't unload on top of the tanks, unfortunately. Normally you would love to, but there's Hellions waiting. Blue Flame at that. As we see, he's forced to pick up, consolidate with his last medevac, maybe. Major finally going to go for a push, realizing how many units are on his side of the map. There's nothing left at home, or there shouldn't be. But thank God he scans. If he had just walked into the natural base and didn't realize there was bio waiting for him, he would have got stimmed on, he wouldn't have sieged in time, it would have been bad news bears. But I want to point out that Raven, its point defense drone will soak up Marauder shots, as well as Vikings and anything that's a projectile. So Major's position is about to get compromised. He either puts a layer of auto turrets behind the tanks to cover them, or a point defense drone down to stop the Marauders from dealing damage. And it looks like it's going to be the point defense drone, but the Marines still have the damage. They push through. The concave is sweet. Major loses the tanks, and he loses his foothold on his opponent's side of the field. I don't think Major ever scouted the top right. Oh, he finally did, excuse me. So he knows there's the base mining. aLive, he perhaps thought was down to no mineral income because he'd only be mining off the natural. He knew he had shut down that third pretty well, but that's not the case. And aLive is now on 2 bases worth of income. Speaking of income, let's look at those graphs, guys. And this should shoot up massively in aLive's favor in just a moment. Thinking Major favor. The Major favor, Phaser. There you go. How about some damage, but they just can't get on top of any of these fights. Hellions managed to find their way up here, though. There's nothing to defend these poor SCVs, so they are just slowly roasting aLive. Get some really nice shots. 10 of them go down, but it's more about mules than it is SCVs at this point for aLive. He does have a lot of command centers after all, so not the end of the world for him. MajOr, on the other hand, is in this awkward spot. Again, just re-emphasizing, he's trying to build a 4th CC. He does not have the money to defend a new base and push simultaneously. So if he's caught pushing up here in the top right and aLive goes around him as he has done consistently in this game, then aLive's going to get a free base for it. That tank just unsieged, though. That's really bad. Vikings land to try and be some of the fodder. He doesn't quite have it. The Bio's going to win. I think aLive has brought this game back in more than one way, and MajOr is just SOL. What does he even have for an army? He's got a couple of tanks and a few Hellbats. That's it. I think aLive's done it. I think MajOr's going to be forced into the 3rd, 4th place of the tournament, and aLive's going to move on to those finals. A majority of MajOr's mining is all based on this single base. Oh man, that was like a double pun. Oh shit, I didn't even mean to do that. That was awesome. Anyways, there's not enough of an army for aLive to dive in and try and kill a command center the same way you would versus, say, Protoss, but it's certainly feasible that he never lets MajOr take another base. Yeah, command center gets lifted up pretty quick. Marauders just running for their lives away from this. Well, this game is going to drag on a little bit longer. It actually reminds me that one time I tried to eat a clock. It was pretty time consuming. Oh, the command center is actually going to get sniped. No, the SCV is actually going to get on to repair. A little bit scary, a little bit dangerous as it does lift up that last second. But focused on the tanks. MajOr with some really nice micro actually keeps them alive a bit longer. But man, aLive sitting on 3-3, and this is not the full might of his army. This is like the leftover part of his army from previous engagements. Now that he's coming with a full force, he should easily be able to stop this command center from going up. And unlike the south side, there's actually Marines with this, so shooting up is not out of the equation. MajOr's also lost a lot of his Vikings. Without that air control, there's no way to police out these Liberators, and they're free to come to the back of the base and siege up on top of the tanks. That's going to be it for MajOr's tanks. GG's get called, and aLive, ladies and gentlemen, will take the series 2-1 and move on to the finals, where he'll wait for the winner of TLO versus Solo. Congratulations to him. That being said, though, I'm going to go to a small commercial break while I try and set the next series up ASAP. Don't want to make you guys wait too long. First map is going to be on Apotheosis once again, and I'll see you guys in 2 minutes.